You guys, there was so much chatter around this Netflix India anthology, hailing it as masterful storytelling that I had to watch. And sorry, I don't get it. Nai location, abhi bhi America mein hu. Today, let's talk about Paava Kadhaigal. Do subscribe to the channel and like this video if you like. Okay, so my knowledge of Tamil cinema is negligible. So I lack crucial information and context here about where this anthology kind of stands in terms of the Tamil film industry in general. So I'm only looking at it from the outside in, as one would any film, jiski language one doesn't speak. The common thread in the 4 short stories here is the evils of patriarchy and how women who aren't allowed to have a mind of our own are nevertheless supposed to always be the upholders of our family's izzat. And all the 4 shorts accept the abject hypocrisy of this dichotomy as a given. But of these 4 stories about how women get a raw deal in life right from the moment we're born till the moment society destroys us figuratively and sometimes literally, only one is written and directed by a woman. Sudha Kongara, who recently made the really fun Surai Putra, helms the first film, Thangam. It's a story of 3 people maneuvering a weird love triangle, hiding from their village's Hindu-Muslim bigotry and daring to be themselves. One of these 3 people is Satar, a Muslim trans woman who is saving money for gender reassignment surgery and is in love with a man who in turn is in love with Satar's sister. There isn't any animosity here though, everyone is best friends. Sudha Kongara, who inexplicably sets this film in the early 80s, lulls you into believing that while mushkil hogi par ye love story chal jayegi. Lekin just as one begins to chill and enjoy this threesome's dynamic a little bit, tragedy befalls and what happens next, wo aap dekh lena. Now, the actor who plays Satar is a cishet male Kalidas Jairam. Another opportunity for a natural transgender actor straight up taken away, which in 2020 when we have awareness and means to be more inclusive is a shame. This oversight though is only one of the anthology's many issues. Savior complex being the most jarring. All you get to know about Satar is that she's in love with a man. Sure, Satar is shunned by society and family, but that isn't an entirely unexpected detail as far as storytelling goes. Then comes the most baffling of the 4, love Panna Uttranum, and I do apologize for butchering the pronunciation, but again, for a story about women empowerment, the women characters here are either dumb as rocks or written as infuriating stereotypes. And at the end of this Vignesh Shivan film, one is supposed to not just forgive a murderous lifelong casteist father, but actually sympathize with him, because it's not like grown-ass adult upper caste straight men have had any power their whole lives, yeah? Moving on to the most obviously manipulative story of the lot, Gautham Menon's Vaanmagal. If children, especially little girls, are at the heart of your film's conflict, I expect your story to have more nuance than police ko nahi batayenge, badnami hogi, and castration as punishment for sexual assault. It's crude and sensationalist in very, very obvious and annoying ways to a keen observer. Is this from the point of view of a 12-year-old survival of sexual assault? Is this from her young but old-fashioned mother's point of view, or her father or older brother who as men don't quite know how to channel their rage? It sure tries to be all of that, but due to the lack of commitment to a protagonist, which the short film format perhaps requires, it only remains a shallow attempt at generating empathy and perhaps anger. Vetrimaaran's Oor Iravu is yet another story where the suspense is if this man's daughter will get killed at the hands of her own family. And because this is the 3rd film in the anthology with an identical conflict, that of women marrying who they like, and the 4th film overall, you're tired at this point and not particularly impressed by Prakash Raj's performance, which as far as performances go is pretty good, but it's more tiring than it would be if this were a standalone film. Oor Iravu has an epilogue which hints that it could be based on a true story, which is terrifying and heartbreaking, but I couldn't find much evidence of how real this story is, or if it's pretending to be real, which again, see above, manipulative. There are good acting performances to be found all over the anthology, no doubt, and perhaps it could be enough if it weren't for the apparent, token, cinematic shaking of fist at society and patriarchy. Sorry, I don't get the hype. That's all. Just doing my job, you guys. Subscribe.